Call to order. Please rise for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America,
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Lisa, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kriebel?
Here.
Commissioner Langria?
Here.
Mayor Holtzman?
Here. Pursuant to the Open Public Meeting Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the law. Tonight, we do not have any presentations. We don't have any department head reports, correct?
Ernie, you're just here for no resolutions. Okay.
Great, okay.
Mayor, I would just make a quick announcement to let everybody know that the storm is expected to start tonight, and we will be sending out code reds and posts on our city webpage. So for those listening, just be prepared. The code red will go out sometime this afternoon, and we'll have updates throughout the night as well as on city website.
He's not.
He talked, yeah.
Yeah, turn your volume down on your computer.
Okay, where's that? I gotta find it, hold on.
All the way to the right-hand corner.
Here, okay, hold on.
You don't need to hear what's going on.
I don't want
Computer, you can hear
to.
us talk.
Speaker view, no. Lisa, do you? I think it's this.
That's fine.
Which is F5.
He said F5. Okay.
You have a lot of echo. Can you turn down your volume on that?
I think I'm down all the way. I'm muted, right?
Well, no, the speaker, you can still hear it muted. You turn your speaker down low. That should help.
So we're working through obviously we're working through the kinks, and you won't be able to hear what other people are saying.
Right.
So it's like thin wire.
Yep.
Yeah. So we're working through it.
Okay, we ready?
Yep.
There's no discussion on capital tonight, and the following will be the items that we will be voting on in our regular portion. For the guest out there, this is our workshop portion where the commissioners, we discuss everything that we're going to vote on immediately following. So the first, we have no minutes to approve this meeting. We do have two introductions of ordinances. One is 2020-014, and that is amending 2018-013, establishing regulations for clothing donation bins in the city of Ventnor. We're adding that there has to be an approval from the zoning office. And Lance, do you want to add to that?
Certainly, Mayor. We've been having some issues with some of the clothing donation locations in the city, overflowing, very unsightly. So what we're going to do is that there's going to be a process now that you get a warning, you get 10 days to clean it up. If you don't, you get issued a citation, you'll put it in front of court. We also are thinking about, not thinking, we're going to require that you have some kind of fencing around them because they're just not attractive with clothes overflowing outside of them. The people look, they're a great, volunteer way and a cheap way for people to recycle clothing, but they have to follow some rules. It's become unsightly, and one of them is right at the entrance of Ventnor on Wellington Avenue. So,
You know what, Commissioner Landgraf, I'm wondering if we should reach out to the health department, because I know like the vets that do pickups at people's homes, they haven't done it since COVID. They will not pick up
Right.
anything. So I'm wondering if
that's part of what this started before that.
right, I know.
Jimmy's reached out to them, the people that operate those bins. If they're not collecting them, then we're gonna dispose of the clothes that are in there, and they're gonna have to remove the bins. If they're not operating them, they're gonna have to remove them.
Yeah, because they might not be
If
operating.
they're not maintaining them,
Exactly.
you don't want people dropping off clothing and supplies.
Right. Okay, great. Commissioner Kriebel, you okay with that?
Yes.
We're good? Okay, so the next introduction will be ordinance 2020-015, and that is amending 72-6 beaches. And what that is we are allowing barbecues on the beach every day from June 1st to September 30th. Commissioner Kriebel, you want to add a little bit to that? Because I know there's certain types that are allowed and the types that aren't allowed.
It just, there are no grill barbecue for cats.
Charcoal.
Charcoal.
There's no charcoal, just
So it's
gas.
gas only. There was in the past difficulty in disposing of it, and someone got hurt in the past, but we're allowing it for gas every day.
Okay. Go with that, Commissioner Landgraf?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The next are resolutions that we will be voting on by consent, and I'll go through each one. The first one is Resolution 2020-228, and that is emergency repair on Lafayette Station in the amount of $5,000. Correct, Ernie?
That is correct.
It's all fixed?
All fits.
Thank you. Commissioners, we're good with that?
Yes.
Okay. The next is Resolution 2020-229, and that is the renewal of a contract for Core and Main LP for the furnishing and delivering of the residential cold meters. This is you, correct, Ernie?
Yes, it is.
Okay, we're good with that?
Yep,
Yes.
new meters,
New meters. Okay,
water meters.
I figured that, yeah.
Just making sure.
But I figured, yeah, that's good. Commissioner Kriebel, we're good?
Yes.
The next is Resolution 2020-230, and that's authorizing no parking during the beach concerts and mini farmers market for the summer. But we canceled concerts for July
Correct.
at this
Also,
point, right? Okay, so we're waiting to see
For August.
what COVID brings us for August.
This
Okay.
mini farmers market is still going to happen
Okay,
tomorrow, and it's just around the library.
the library, okay,
Perimeter.
gotcha, okay. You go with that, Commissioner Landgraf?
Yes,
Okay. The next is 2020-231, and this is a refund to the community building for a room rental. And that's basically self-explanatory, but evidently somebody didn't use it, so we refunded them. Correct, Al? The next is 2020-232, and that is the hiring of Joseph P. Calvi III for Public Works Department, a seasonal employee to be part of the beach crew.
yes, beach cleanup, yep. We hire a few guys every summer, and he's gonna be one of them this year.
You're good with that, Commissioner Kriebel?
Yes.
Okay, the next is Resolution 2020-233, and that is approval for us to submit a grant application and execute a grant agreement with the United States Department of Homeland Security for the fiscal year 2020 FEMA Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities Program. We're good with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Just briefly on that, this is a Jim Rutella grant that he brought to us. It helps us bolster our code as well as look at new mechanisms to build more safely and more resiliently throughout the city. That goes across the board from streets, stormwater inlets, bulkheads, anything like that, so.
Good.
And buildings.
Great. And the last one is Resolution 2020-234, and that's appointing Michael, how do you say your last name? Capellas to the Ventnor City School Board. Any questions on that?
None at all. Yeah.
Okay, and then the last one, resolution is 2020-235, and that was added on my packet, and that deals with traffic loading zone and parking. This is, Lance, I think you want to take
Yep.
this. This is about Zorro's, right?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We had offered out to some of our all of our restaurants where it was possible to use some of our parking spaces out in the street. We had a rush of them come through a couple of weeks ago, and Zorro's reached out earlier this week and requested a couple of spaces out in front of their restaurant on Ventnor Avenue. I met there with Chief Biaggi, Captain Fussner, Tom Halpin, one of our fire official, Ed Stinson, and Jimmy Agnesino, and we all looked at where they wanted to put them, and it worked out very well. So they're in the process of filling out all the applications, but I wanted to be preemptive and get it done for them tonight, so when they get the barriers to put in, they don't have to, come back
Right.
to us. So
Sounds good.
this is really amending the previous resolution, correct, Lisa, or is this a whole new one?
That's amending the one prior, so everybody will be on one resolution.
Yep, good. And we set it up with square footage and actually linear feet where they can put the barriers. We're getting better at it, so.
It's a learning
It is.
experience.
It is.
Okay, so that's it for the resolutions. Then we will have our approval of our bills and payrolls. Do we have any discussion items that we want to discuss at this point?
Nothing of great urgent. I mean, we meet Public Works and stuff every day like Tim does with Public Safety. Just working through things. We had pretty heavy rain the other night. A lot of our streets, took that rain. We're going to get a lot of rain tomorrow. We're going to have the same issue with a lot of rain coming down. We don't have places to put that water on the island. The streets act as our stormwater basins. If you have ever lived inland or you go drive through someone's neighborhood in Galloway Township, you'll see a stormwater basin. That's where the water goes. Here, there's no place for it. And
We're an island.
Stormwater system basically is our streets. So they convey the water to the bay or the ocean, depending on where you are in the city. It takes time when you get 2+ inches of rain in an hour period. So we will have flooding tomorrow. So just be aware, move your car out of low-lying areas. Be aware of ponding water. We sent out a code red just a few hours ago, or an hour ago, I think, talking about just that. Don't drive through flooded streets. We ask you not to do that. So,
Okay. Commissioner Kriebel?
I agree. If you're new to the area, there is a website page that shows the nuisance flooding and the streets that flood first, ones to avoid for your car parked. But same thing. I have a couple things to update on, but I'll wait for initial reports.
Okay. All right. So now we'll move to the public portion. This is for the public, anyone out there that would like to speak on what we just discussed. It's not in general, it's only the items we will be voting on. There'll be another public portion at the end for general, if you have anything other than that. So do I have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Chief, it's open to the public if there's anyone that has a question or a comment on what we're going to vote on.
I don't have anything at this time. I'm waiting for people.
I don't hear him. Does anybody hear him?
I got to turn my volume up.
Oh,
Can you guys hear me now?
I hear you now.
Okay, I'll just talk a little bit louder. Right now, we don't have anybody waving or wishing to ask any questions. The Zoom system works fairly quick. There isn't a lag. So if you want to just give it a few more seconds.
Somebody in the chat room.
Okay. Would the clearing of the drains help with the storm tomorrow? Or is there going to be anybody out doing clearing drains during the storm? The storm is going to start probably around 12 o'clock this evening. So the question is there going to be any clearing of the drains with tomorrow's storm coming?
Chief, what has to happen, just for our records, that person who's asking the question has to identify themselves and their name and address.
I am aware of that, and right now it's a private message that's coming in. I haven't had the person identify themselves yet.
I don't know if you want to. I did not think so. Go way behind him, but he's fully on the blue side of him.
Okay, it is Kendall from 116 South Vassar Avenue. We inquired earlier.
Yep.
Okay, Kendall, you're on now. If you want to ask your question, I've already asked it.
Okay. We did get some visitors this morning that did do some cleaning of the drains. They did report that they're coming back at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I guess there's a downspout that's covered with a little bit of sand at the beach. Will that help? We've never flooded before.
Definitely lost sight of him under the water.
So Public Works was out there today.
Yes.
I know.
So
They're coming back, I guess, tomorrow
They said they're
morning.
coming back tomorrow, then they will be back tomorrow to work on that outfall. It's not a downspout, it should be an outfall going to
Yes.
the beach block, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so they're gonna go out on the beach side and clean that out. I know today we had some water line, actually also on Somerset, so they were working on that this morning. They will be back out there. Yes, they will need to beat them out in the storm to clear drains if possible. They do that ahead of storms. And every storm that's coming, the guys are out there the day before cleaning
Okay.
drains. So we work towards getting that scupper or outfall here sometime tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
You're
I'm
welcome.
just hoping it works.
Thank you. I'm not seeing anybody
Thanks,
else. Any questions? Anybody waving? No. Anybody else at this time?
Okay. Do I have a motion to close public portion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
She said that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do I have a motion to close the workshop portion of the meeting?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Call to order the regular portion of the meeting. We have no approval of minutes. The first introduction, or the first ordinance to introduce is 2020-214, and that's amending ordinance 2018-13. Do I have a motion to introduce the ordinance?
Motion to introduce ordinance 2020-014.
Do I have a second?
Second motion.
Lisa, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kriebel?
Yes.
Commissioner Langria?
Yes.
Mayor Holtzman?
Yes. Next item is the introduction of ordinance 2020-015, and that's amending 72-6 beaches. Do I have a motion to introduce this ordinance?
Motion to introduce ordinance 2020-015.
Do I have a second?
Second motion.
Lisa, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kriebel?
Yes.
Commissioner Langria?
Yes.
Mayor Holtzman?
Yes. We do not have any public hearings tonight, and we do not have any ordinances to adopt. The next is resolutions by consent, which are 2020-228 through 2020-235. Do I have a motion to approve these resolutions by consent?
Make a motion to adopt resolutions 2020-228 through 235 by consent.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Lisa, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kriebel?
Yes.
Commissioner Langria?
Yes.
Mayor Holtzman?
Yes. Our CFO is in the audience. Al Stanley, will you please give us our bills and payrolls for approval? Oh,
Yes, payroll was $559,771.22. And the bill list was $1,432,686.91.
thank you. Do I have a motion to approve bills and payrolls by our CFO?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second motion.
Lisa, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kriebel?
Yes.
Commissioner Langria?
Yes.
Mayor Holtzman?
Yes. Okay, the next item is announcements or any safety reports.
I'll just use that as one,
Okay.
one of my comments.
That's fine.
Related. We had a productive meeting at what the neighborhood calls Snake Alley, which is Winchester and Derby and Winchester and Cornwall, with the police chief and I and some the residents that were concerned about a stop sign location there. We're coming up with a couple of ways to increase the visibility, including potentially a solar blinking stop sign there. But just to be aware, in the next week to 10 days, there's going to be increased presence there for the police department, and it's necessary. People are driving through that stop sign, as they do every July in the height of the season, but we're responding to those the needs in that neighborhood. I was very happy with the productive conversation.
Tim, along those same lines, Cambridge Avenue,
Cambridge.
which is, you come down Winchester, it's everybody's run to get back to Ventnor Avenue. You come down Winchester from Margate or down Beach,
Right.
coming down there, Cambridge Avenue, heavy traffic, speeding, to make that light Ventnor Avenue.
That stop sign, which always backs up and people.
Well, not exactly, it's a light to control intersection at Cambridge and Ventnor.
Yeah.
It's right behind your bed, so.
Yeah.
In ours. I've had residents comment that there's a lot of people speeding there now. Maybe that's use that same police enforcement in that area. They had years ago what's called a speed hump installed there. It caused a lot of problems with people's cars because they were hitting it without knowing it.
Right.
Not a bump, it was just 1 foot, 2 foot wide.
Right.
Hump actually goes up, flattens out, and goes back down. And it still was damaging people's cars.
Yeah.
They're going too fast. So
So we're looking at rumble strips, like you would at the
Okay.
at like the interstate when you
coming up to a toll.
Yeah.
And we're looking at increasing the reflective and the painting of the crosswalks. The crosswalks that we have now are kind of made by us.
Yeah, they are.
So we're going to need But I think those are, these are not actually very dangerous intersections, believe it or not. They're more of a nuisance to drivers. So we're looking at getting the county type of elastomeric crosswalk paint, that kind of stuff that's reflective maybe.
Ed's putting out some bids for that now for some other spots in the city. So let's tag on, get zone striping to bid on all that.
Yeah.
Not just zone. But
Can I add something?
there's a lot.
I don't know if you guys will like the idea. Chief's on here with me. I don't know if he'll like the idea, but about almost 2 weeks ago, I was in Absecon. And I don't know if you're familiar with Highland Boulevard. It's a very wide street, all residential. And I haven't had it, that's the route I take to get to my sister's, and I hadn't been there in a long time. And as I got on that street, it says 20, I mean, it's painted in the street.
On the street.
Very big and bold, and it catches your eye more than anything, any kind of sign. And then the same on Morton Avenue,
Right.
which connects to that. And then they have the stop signs. But I know every summer we all get the emails. I get the emails about people speeding on Atlantic Avenue, speeding on Ventnor Avenue, and we drop the speed limit. And our police can't be everywhere all the time. So I don't know if you like that idea, but I'm telling you, it was neat. It was very sterile looking, and it really catches your eye.
Yeah, I think that we brought that up. The stop ahead is what you see in some of those stop signs where it's kind of counterintuitive because the first thing you see is stop, and then the second thing you see is ahead because you're rolling up.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
We're talking about that as well, coming into the intersection where the stop sign will be.
Yeah,
And
I mean,
also
yeah,
maybe at Cambridge.
In Cambridge,
that is another, again, it's not dangerous, but it's a nuisance. People end up honking their
There's
horns.
been some near misses and some pretty good accidents in October. Right? You're right. I think those are some good suggestions.
Yes, yeah, it was very productive, very
Good.
It was good. I mean, and then I'll just briefly recap some of the things that are happening in fire. Just a positive thing. The EMTs on the beach had 26 calls in the last month. It's a lot, but it's not all high trauma. But I think for the money, what we've used them for, staging 2 EMTs. It turns out the data getting back is that most of those calls are between headquarters and Sacramento. So maybe next year we can consider keeping 1 on. Maybe not 2. They are fully equipped with defibrillators and trauma kits, so they're getting to the people that need it right away. Even though, like I said, they're not all major incidents, but they are getting people to it. In some cases, before other lifeguards are calling it in. So that's a positive.
I like having it. I like that addition that we did this year.
I think it just shows that we're serving the public that way.
Yeah.
And they're getting when they need it, right?
Yeah, I think it should be. What do you think, Commissioner Landgraf?
I like having them down there. I think it's maybe if we can go down to 1, maybe I don't mind the 2. I mean, I think that's
right.
Yeah.
Next summer we're going to have full beach all the way down. So
Right.
Yeah.
I can give an update on that when you're finished.
Yeah.
The beaches stuff.
Just 2 more things. I mean, obviously it's a busy time of year. All our calls are up. And within this, Engine 4 is being lent to Pleasantville without our lending of that. Pleasantville would not have had an engine during 4th of July weekend. So they're very appreciative of that. And then lastly, our Pier cameras is kind of 2 of us are working on.
Yeah. That's you. Go ahead. No, that's all you.
So the Pier cameras are going up. They're being installed as we speak, and probably within the next week they'll be live, which includes beach cams going north and going east and east and west, to show what the level of the surf's like, what the level of the beach community is like. And, can you hear me now?
Anybody else?
And that's, unfortunately, that's all I had to say. The beach cameras are going up on the pier. There's about 4 cameras for security, and then 2 cameras facing up and down the beach.
Great.
Which will be something the public will link onto that on the website, so people can get used to seeing that.
How about a quick shout out with the new Firehouse?
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
sorry, I did
with
have.
those beautiful railings.
So the
That building's
Firehouse-
beautiful.
So Firehouse is at sort of punch list right now. We're at cosmetic punch list things. Once some of the the sort of the finishing touches go on there, we'll be able to dedicate it. There's still a sign that's going to be electronic that's a few weeks out. Some of the signage is a few weeks out because it's just back ordered, but the building is looking great with all the, it's within, the change orders were within 2%, which is very low compared to what you'd see in municipal projects. Most people expect 10%. So, it's all a matter of scale, but still, that was, I think, kudos to Chief Cahill being there almost daily, and his construction knowledge was really key in keeping that ball moving efficiently.
And he's a proud papa walking around that building too.
Oh, yes, he is. It is beautiful. And I just want to make a note because I know some people have reached out to me either directly or through someone, and I was asked this question several times. So for the public, it's for it to be recorded. People made comments, why is there an elevator in there? They're firefighters. The elevator's in there because of code, correct, Lance? And a building of so many stories for ADA purposes has to have an elevator. So there's the answer to everybody that wanted to know why there's an elevator in our new firehouse, correct?
Yes,
Correct.
code required.
Code required, that's right.
Two-story building with potential for handicapped people being in it.
Exactly.
It needs to have an elevator.
Yep.
Right.
So,
We weren't happy about paying for it, but we had to do
But
it.
we had to do it, but people there, I got enough people asking me, so I thought I would put
and
it
it
out.
won't be used on a daily basis.
It's not used for the firefighters, no, it's used for, like Chief Cahill even said, if a vendor comes in and they're handicapped, you have to have the elevator.
Part of the world.
Okay, Commissioner Landgraf, do you have any?
Just a couple things. Karen, we're piggybacking on to the pier. Talking about possibly shifting some of the hours of the pier master down there. We're getting a lot of issues at night and early morning. People are getting on there early before 8 a.m. when our pier masters start. So I talked to Tim briefly today, and I'll throw it out to you. We can discuss it further. Maybe move some of the hours instead of from 8 to 6, having a pier master there from 6 to 4. And I'm also thinking of hiring a third person
For nighttime.
in the evenings.
Yeah, I
On
agree.
Friday, Saturday nights, we can have somebody there from 8 to midnight. Because that's when we have a lot of our problems. People letting people in, people climbing over the gate. The cameras are going to help with this.
Yeah.
We hope. I want to see how that works. But fair warning, if we see you climbing, and by the way, the camera feed goes right to PD. So a wireless feed goes right to PD. If they see you climbing over stuff and going around there illegally, they're going to come down. You're going to get taken off the pier. You're going to get arrested.
Right.
So just be aware of that out there in the public. But Tom mentioned it to me today of opening up a little bit earlier. Having somebody there because the daily guys that buy the passes want to get there and
They're
fish
early,
it. The tide's low.
With the tide, right?
Tide's changing or whatever. I'm not a fisherman, so
Right.
whenever they want to do it. So just some suggestions, and if we can find a third person to maybe do that swing shift.
At
So
nighttime,
maybe
right?
the guys work 6 to 4. Somebody comes in at 4 to
Midnight.
midnight or something like
It's 8
that.
hours,
It's a long, yeah, I think it's 8 hours. But it seems long to get out there.
Well,
We're working towards some changes out there.
Okay.
We're having a lot of people coming up there now at that new pier house. And
Beautiful.
it's been busy, which is nice. People want to get out and see it.
I've seen a lot more fishermen than I've seen in a long time. I think
Absolutely.
It kind of get some attention, and if it makes sense, I think it's a good idea because there is like a frustration when people get that on, or there's too many, there's some shark fishing, things like that aren't allowed.
And if you're acting inappropriately up there, there was a complaint last night about some kids being out there doing some things they weren't supposed to do. There's a number right there that gives you it's a non-emergency number to Ventnor City Police Department, 823-2101.
Yes.
Call that number, police will come down and check it out and see what's going on. So, and you can do that quietly. You can walk away, walk to the restroom, and make that phone call.
Do it on your cell phone.
You don't have to give your name. Just let out that no issues going on. That's kind of it.
Okay. That's it? That's it? Okay. So next is the public portion. This is open to the public for things that we didn't discuss. So do I have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second one.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Anybody out there, Doug?
Not right now. Nobody's waving at me. Anybody in the meeting?
I can't hear him.
That's in our-
Oh, I have to turn
Anybody
my.
that's in our audience that wishes to ask a question, you can wave at me or you can.
I have something to say.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
Identify yourself and give your address, please.
My wife and I, Arnie and Sandy Snyder, we live at 7203 Atlantic Avenue. I've been emailing with the mayor a couple weeks ago about the speeding on Atlantic Avenue. We sit on our porch. Between 4 and 7, we can have trucks and cars go by 60, 70 miles an hour. Tractor trailers, it's unbelievable, the speeding. You put up that neon sign, 25 miles an hour, nobody pays attention to it. I like the idea. I've seen it in other towns where they paint it on the street. You got to do something with the speeding. You could have a police car there every night and you could make enough money for the guy's salary. I mean, for the year, it's unbelievable, the speeding. You have to do something. Speed bumps, any resolution for next year would really be helpful. I really would appreciate do something like that. And one other thing that bothers me, I've been here 30 years. Every year I buy 10, 12 beach tags. I don't mind spending the money. They're reasonable as everything else. But why are we the only shore town that doesn't have someone sitting at every street? You could give young kids a job during the summer. It would be helpful. They would collect more money to help them to get their salaries and for the township. Why do we let people come on our beach when we spend good money?
We have, some of the beach checkers are on the entrances and some of them sweep the beach. If we put it on.
It's 30 years like that. Ocean City, you cannot get on the beach.
Do you want me to answer you?
Yes.
Okay. If we put a beach checker on every entrance, every day of the summer, it would cost us a fortune. It would cost a lot more money. I mean,
do it on the weekends.
Trust me, you're talking a huge staff and you're talking a lot of money. Our beach badge checkers budget is not that big. We have the kids, we stagger them. We have some at the entrances and we have some that sweep the beach. If we
Haven't
put a
seen
beach
one this
checker
year.
at every beach, how many beaches are there? 44?
How can Ocean City afford it?
There's 44 entrances. So do 44 entrances times 7 days a week. That's a lot of hours. And then the amount of hours. You're talking that would, to do what you're asking, sir, you're talking a couple $100,000. And that equates to a penny or 2 pennies on your taxes. So
How
yes,
do
I understand what
other
you're
shore
saying.
towns do it?
I can't hear him, Doug.
How do other shore
How
towns
other
do
shore
it?
towns do it, Mayor? How do other shore towns do it is what he's asking. How can Ocean City and other shore?
Ocean City is a much wealthier town than Ventnor. That's how Ocean City can do it.
Ocean City's summer population goes from 12,000 people a year. In the winter,
Please do something about the speeding. It's really annoying.
That I can do. That I can
Between
help.
4 and 7, it's awful. That neon sign that says 25 miles an hour, it should say speed limit, 25 miles an hour, you've been warned. That's what it should say.
Well, we're working
Maybe
on it.
someone would slow down.
Chief Biaggi, you want to we have Chief Biaggi on here. Do you want to?
Chief Biaggi, would you like to talk about the speeding? Although I know Commissioner Kriebel, before this gentleman spoke, talked about us doing some different things.
Well, not to stress what everybody says about Atlantic Avenue is, the 60 to 80 miles an hour, I don't buy it. It doesn't happen. But I understand everybody I know you can shake, but I can tell you that what 60 miles an hour is in real life and what you think it is are two different things.
Come sit on my porch.
Okay. Well, anyway, we're going to look into it. We are aware.
Thank you.
That machine that flashes the light, the one that flashes 25 miles an hour, I don't believe it's ever picked up because it takes data also. So every car that goes by, it also collects data. So we've never had a car go 80 miles an hour. We rarely have a car go 60. What we do is we have cars that still go around 45 miles an hour, which was consistent with the old speed limit. So I do understand that people are speeding on it. It is a very tough avenue to enforce. but we are enforcing it and we are issuing tickets. Now, there are things that we are doing and we are thinking about that can maybe lessen that. And it's going to require a lot. First, it's going to be fixing our light system and updating our light system. That's number one. And another thing that we're looking into, and it's going to take a while, it's not a quick fix, is potentially a road diet, which brings in a whole other set of arguments and complaints. So we're taking things very slowly on that. Right now, I am doing enforcement. As you notice with the problem we have on Derby Avenue and Winchester and a lot of these side streets in the summer, Atlantic Avenue is getting enforced. You may not see it, but it is getting enforced. And I can tell you just because of the ticket stats I'm getting. And we'll continue to enforce it. We're not going to get everybody. I'm not going to promise you that. But it is on our radar, no pun intended, and we are keeping a check on it. I will increase it as my manpower happens. So I will get, as I get more manpower and they free themselves up from other calls, I will get officers to do more traffic on Atlantic Avenue. It may not be the perfect answer, but it is the one I can give you and the one I can at least promise you will be done. I'm not going to make a bunch of airfield promises and say we're going to correct the problems on Atlantic Avenue. These have been going on for years, but we will look into it and we will enforce it more.
Yeah, Ryan here could fix it.
It's not me.
Okay, so I do thank you. And you can always call me at my office and we can chat more and I can come down on site and sit with you. So I'm willing to do that, and I'll put a car right in front of your house and we can run radar all day long if it's necessary. So I'm listening to you. I understand your problem and I will address it. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Thank you. People don't speed in Longport.
It's one lane. It's one lane in each direction, and there's one light. And yeah, if that's all up, Longport and Ventnor's demographics are a little bit different. And us being next to Atlantic City, we have a different type of problem we have to deal with here in Ventnor. So to compare us to Longport is not an accurate.
Well, one thing you said about the traffic lights between Melbourne and Fredericksburg is the longest stretch, I think, along Atlantic Avenue where there are no lights in between. And I think if they would see the light changing after they've left Fredericksburg or Melbourne on the other direction, they might not go as fast. I don't know.
That is good. And with the new light system, traffic system, we'll be able to do all of that.
Right.
The system we're using,
stagger it more in the summer.
The system we're using now is literally like 40 years old.
Yeah, I know.
So every administration has not looked at that as a priority. We now have an administration that is at least looking at these things and saying, let's pass it to the next generation.
Thank you.
All these ideas we are having, and thank you for your input.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Chief, we have someone here live that would like to speak, so, okay, so if anybody that you can see, can you hold off?
No, there's nobody right now that's waving to me or anything, so we're good.
Okay. All right.
Tim Kreischer, Ventnor. I just wanted to, I have comments made and then some comments on what's been said tonight. But I wanted to compliment and thank the city fathers for the job that you did on the Fisher Pier, in the bathrooms in the Pier House. For a long time, the city did things on the cheap and really spoke negatively about the quality of town that we have. And then we kind of got away from that and did things right. And then in recent years, it went back to doing things cheap, as evident by that building that was up there. So I really are pleased because the Firehouse, the Fisher Pier, are all kind of things that make a statement about the community and speaks positively or negatively. So I just want everybody comes and complains. I wanted to compliment you and thank you for going back to those ways of doing things that make you proud.
We appreciate you coming out to the ribbon cutting.
I do have, you said you've been working on it since 17. Somewhere in Lisa's files, you have a petition where I stood up there on Saturday and Sunday and got signatures and turned it into the city for the city to build a bathroom back then. So that was around 2010. So I have been working on it since then. But is the city police department still CALEA certified? You know?
Still what?
The police department CALEA is certified.
Yes, right, Chief? CALEA certified? He can't hear me.
No, we're not.
Chief, did you get that
Did
question?
you hear what?
Yes, I heard.
Did you hear Timmy ask?
Yes, they changed over to accreditation. New Jersey Association State of Chiefs
Chiefs Association, yeah.
So it's a different accreditation. It's similar to CALEA, But yes, we are still, a matter of fact, we're in our accreditation period now where we are finishing up to get recertified within the next 2 months.
Good. I think with Kalia, we got a discount. or a
That's correct.
liability
Back when you
insurance,
started,
a
Mayor.
discount that comes with Chiefs
That is correct.
Association certification.
He's saying yes.
Yes, he's saying yes.
That started under your tenure, I believe.
On the Ventnor Avenue property that the city bought, it was said at the time when you announced that you were buying it, that you would disclose what the use was that you were trying to prevent after you closed on the property. So now that you closed on the property, what was the use the buyer was going to use?
Enlightened Solutions wanted to purchase it for more facility for her group therapy.
Okay. And does the property go all the way back to that white fence, or just where the stone is, the gravel or crushed or whatever it is?
I think it's just where that stone is. I'm not sure the rear property line. I hadn't seen a survey when we first purchased it, and I haven't been out there looking at the corners, but it may go all the way back to that fence. It does not get back to the parking lot. It's too far down. The municipal parking lot.
And I had flashbacks, you mentioned about Cambridge Avenue and the speed hump.
Yeah.
Did you work on that, Vince?
No, it was post my years was there, but yeah.
But, you know, we put that in, within 2 weeks, they were asking us to take it out.
Mhm. Exactly, Jay.
People were bombing,
Rumble's
running out.
would be the same.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say, the rumbles, the strips are pretty noisy, that people, I come here and enjoy the peace and quiet in the summer. So I caution you about the rumble stuff. And it's always been a problem with speeders, I empathize with you. One of the things that we used to do is that we get that strip that would measure the speed, the number of cars and the speed of the cars, so that, you know, sometimes, especially back in Monmouth, Winchester Avenue with narrow streets, it looks like the cars are going faster than they are.
Right.
But, you know, that gave us this statistical data to show that, you know, cars, or show that the cars were speeding and that we needed to emphasize it. So just a suggestion that if that thing is still available, it gives you some data to make decisions, or at least to show to people that there is really not a speeding problem. It just appears to be, or the impression is.
Right.
But again, thanks for the job that you did on Fisher.
Oh, thank you, Timmy. Anybody else out there, Doug?
Nope, we're good. We're
Nope.
good to go.
Okay, do I have a motion to close public portion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have no executive session, correct? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice day and stay safe.
Lance, it's
Great job, chief.
it's 6:13.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend, everyone.
You
Okay,
too. Thank